Hello, this is Eric Cameron with Project Neptune Shark, and I'm first going to be going over our main menu. As we load in, we have, I'll just go ahead and turn this down first. We have all of our buttons here that are displaying information, or rather playing an animation when going over, as well as the sound. Each one. And different sounds for the play and the quit. Clicking through them before we hit play. Let's go to how to play. Everything functions. Unable to click outside of here. You can still click this. I wanted to keep this I wanted to keep this available through all the menus to further incentivize the player wherever they're at. Leave some feedback, but we'll check that too. Have a level select, same thing. Back. Options I already showcased, but we'll use the sliders again. Reduce that. You can see that does save. We have our credits. Again, unable to click anywhere except for this feedback button. And then we have a quit, which we will show at the end. So first we will check and make sure the play works. We're loading into the level. Okay, this is our first level, which is Forest Fire at the top left, so we see that that is functioning. So we go back to the main menu. So once again, this is the first level that we enter clicking play, but we'll click again to make sure this works, and we see it does. And again, confirmed on the top left. So with each of the levels, we'll see the name of the level in the top left. That's how we can confirm that we're in the right place. Clicking on Village Ruins shows us Village Ruins. And again, when the pause menu is up, unable to click anywhere else or activate abilities. Winter Campsite next. Top left shows Winter Campsite. It's functioning. Twin Falls. We have Twin Falls. And we have our toy box, which is called New Toy Box. There we go. Yep. Okay, and then just to go in and show the pause menu, we'll go into Winter Campsite. We hit pause. We've already showcased the back to main menu. Here's our how to play again. Click do anything else until you hit this. Our options menu, which did save from before. That's working as intended. And then if I hit escape rather than hitting resume, see the pause menu goes away, player gets control back. Another thing is to show if we have another one of the menus up, hit escape, and everything goes away. And that is the same with options. See, everything is taken away when you hit escape. And then should be it for the menu side of it, so I will make sure that the quit game works from the pause menu first. Hit quit. Okay, that does make us quit as intended. Reload the game. And then we'll check the quit button on the main menu to make sure that works. Quit. It does. And the final button is leave feedback button. Just make sure that should open up into our feedback Google form. Click that, and there we go. All right, and that is it for the menus for our level, or for our game rather. And thank you much. See you in the next video.
Hello, my name is Paul Collis Miller, and I'm going to be demonstrating the first level from Neptune Shark's recent build. It is the tutorial level, and you can access it just by clicking play currently. So if you click play, a sequence video shows up, and we are put into the hands of our character. Immediately, there is a tutorial for flying, which causes time to slow down and eventually stop. And if you click space in this form, then you regain control. Give a little look-sees over here. This same functionality, but for holding shift, which allows you to go fast. Through this cave is where we learn that flying depletes stamina and the location of where your stamina bar is. And then up here, we teach the player how to regain their stamina. Here, we have the first combat tutorial. If you get close, you can lock on, and then it teaches you your basic attacks, melee, range, and then dashing. So we'll go ahead and take these guys out. Where'd they go? Oh, go. Got one of them. Go. Okay, and got the other one. Okay, continue on. And this is where we will learn about all of our abilities. So we're going to click right click to access our shield ability, and then right click, and we gained our shield, which depleted a lot of the damage that we would have just taken there, and also caused us to not spiral out. As we continue over here, we learn about the existence of prey and the bonuses that they can give us, such as stat bonuses and additional abilities. So we're going to go over here, we're going to collect some of them. Okay, now that we got some of them, we're going to continue moving up into the next area. This is the area you can kind of play around with your abilities that you might have just gained from those prey. So we're going to use our Berserk ability, which grants us a limited time of using infinite range attacks. And oh, I guess we can get this guy too. Maybe we can get him with the egg bomb. Go. Okay, got him. Now we will move on throughout here, where we will learn our final mechanic. Just before I do though, you can see we have a post-process system on this area. I wanted the saturation to be a bit lowered because that is the natural vision of owls. They can't see in the exact color spectrum that we do. So press Control to lift off. You're sent out here. You're immediately greeted with the main location for the boss fight right there and multiple affordances leading you to that said direction. The post-process system changes to a bit of a red tint, emphasize all these fires around here. As you continue down your way, you can get to the forest, which is where a lot of our predators and prey will live. So you're going to be spending most of your time down here, fighting and gaining stats. Oh, I had an owl chasing me. I'm gonna make my way over here, and I will sit on one of these perches, regain some of my stats. Over here is where one of our more special prey resides. There he is. This one grants us a Talon bonus, Talon attack bonus, which will help us deal more damage in the long run. Get some of my stuff back. There we are. Okay, I will go up here and hit this slipstream for some extra speed. Make my way, see if I might be able to find some more prey real quick. Could use some more stats before going up to fight that boss. Let's see. Go. I'm gonna make my way up throughout this cave right over here. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to turn the music down just a bit. There we are. As you can see, the pause screen is working. Get your options, your how to play. And then back to main menu. We're of course not going to do that right now. We're going to go through one of these fireflies, gain some more of our health back. There we are. And we're going to go try for this boss. Hit this slipstream. And here we are. A lock on. Go with the metal. And we're going to try to get in here and take him out before he gets us. Got another medal. It's coming in handy. There we go. And the bear has been defeated and we won. Just want to take this time to demonstrate the losing condition. So if you were to go in here and fight, and let's let these owls just take me down, then you can easily get jumped and then lose. We also have a very nice feedback section for all of our playtesters that will take them to a Google Doc form that they can fill out and leave us some information. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the level.
Hello again, this is Eric Cameron from Project Neptune Shark, and I'm going to be showcasing 2 levels in one video here, as I am responsible for Village Ruins and Winter Campsite. So, main menu, let's turn this down. These are the 2 levels that I am responsible for, so we're going to go into Village Ruins first and do a playthrough of the level. So firstly, clicking on Village Ruins does indeed take us to the correct area, as we can see on the top left of the screen. Showcasing the pause menu here. Have options did save from the previous menu. And go back to main menu. Alright, so as the player starts, and a bit of a clearing with their back up against a mountain, They will be led through to the first POI, which is a logging site. So this was an area to show kind of the human impact on nature, and that's something that we are going to continue to explore as we go through the game. So we can see our objectives on the top right. Our main objective is to find the big bear and defeat it, and our side objective is to grow stronger by catching prey. These icons show up. This was the solution put in to help the player see things from far away. As we get closer, icons will disappear. You can see that now we have a good bit of player-facing information. Whenever the player finds a prey and catches it, we get something that pops up showing that they have gained their stats. And then the stats can be tracked with our OWL stats key, which is in the bottom left. You see OWL stats, it's kind of blowing or pulsing, and that will continue to pulse until the player activates that key. So we have our OWL stats here, and see the progression of what we have found so far with the prey has increased our stats. And that is a level up. So we have an experience bar at the bottom, which now shows even when there's no experience, so the player is aware of that, and tracks the level as well. Every level up will also give the player additional health, along with a small boost to all of their stats. So the player should see an increase every level, even by a small amount. So if we continue forward from the starting area, we go to our first POI, or I'm sorry, our second POI outside of the logging site, and this is the village ruins itself. So this is a site where there was a village a long time ago, and now is dilapidated and filled with predators. So predators are something we're going to attack here. The predators are unique, and they give you a boost to, or a pretty substantial experience boost, as well as a level up, or a large amount of experience. So it's a much bigger chance that you're going to get level up by defeating a predator. This is based on feedback that predators weren't really worth fighting. Now we incentivize the player by not only gaining abilities, which you see populate on the left-hand side, in the bottom left, but as well as gaining a pretty large stat boost and a lot of experience. You engage with our ranged combat here. Go. And we got another level up. So if the player decides to follow the river, this was put in as a way to bridge the different areas, or the different pathways that the player can take from the start. So if the player just kind of goes straight, they're going to run into the village ruins. But if they go left, they will be led towards this area, which will go into a clearing, which shows another one of the POIs here. So as we go up the hill, we have some crows that will attack. And we have some predators and some prey. But here's our watchtower POI as a bunch of crows attempt to attack us. But our watchtower POI gives a great overlook of the level. And we can see where the player started and the river. And we have on the other side the mountain POI that exists. And then a unique part about the watchtower POI is it does have a nest to regain the stamina for the player, as well as this little guy, which is a black-capped chickadee. Now, these are a special prey that do not spawn in the spawn handler, so they do not spawn randomly. But once you defeat one, or once you catch one, you get a nice boost to your talent attack. So now your attack has increased by 5. This is a side area, so if the player does explore it, they get a nice little boost there. So I'm going to go to the other side of the level. Following the river, we go to this other side here. There you go. Get a scream in. So I just used an ability that stopped that predator from chasing me. So the scream will stop them from chasing, so we can see this actively here. Boom. And now they are frozen for a few seconds. And freeze again. There we go. Now I'm out of abilities, so I'm just gonna go back to the regular combat. Get this grasshopper here. So I'm trying to gain more stats so that I am strong enough to fight the bear boss, because the bear boss is pretty strong. So we want to make sure that our stats are increased. Currently level 5, which, based on what we've tested, is a pretty decent spot to be in if you want to fight the bear boss. So I will just finish off these prey here, get some more experience, level up a little bit. There's a bobcat that seems to be prowling around. I'm gonna take them out real quick. They're dead, good. And we'll go check out the mountain POI here. This is a place that has the kind of a placeholder asset for some birds, and it has some nests. This is a great place to come and get stamina and then go back down. We are going to go towards the end of the level here, now that we feel like we've grown a decent amount of strength. Just going to interact with the branch before we go through this valley here. And a nice little temporary touch here. If the player gets kind of lost and not really sure where to go, if they were to perch on a branch, we're going to see these leaves change direction to point towards the boss. So they're pointing in that direction there. See this happen with any of these branches, pointing in that direction. So this is something that the player can determine as they play through. Okay, so we are level 7, feeling pretty good about all of our stats. We have a couple static spawns that happened over here on the way to the bear boss, so we're going to take them out. It's kind of a valley area in between, transition between the main area and the boss area here. So this will be populated with more things and final assets. We got a final level up in there, so we're in level 8. So I will showcase, since I have a lot of progression here, I will showcase the actual fail state of the level, but I do want to showcase, since I'm in a pretty good spot, the win state. So I will do that first, and then I will reload the level and show the win state. I just got a bunch of health back from the fireflies, which is something that we use very seldomly, because we want the player to feel as though their life is kind of a high risk, high reward type thing. Alright, so fighting the bear boss. So I was pretty strong and I was able to defeat the bear boss pretty quickly. Oh, great. So just a quick designer note here. When we defeat bear boss, it will load a random level based on the pool of levels that we have. By functionality, that's how we want our game to work. So it gives this player kind of this looping sense in which, you know, they'll be able to play through the level or the game as much as they want and keep getting stronger and stronger. Further iterations will include kind of variations of levels here. And like different POIs and things like that. So we're going to showcase the dying part, so the fail state. So have to find a predator. There we go. It's an owl. They should be able to take me out pretty quickly. They will knock the player down, losing control for 2 seconds. They'll wait for 4 seconds, and then they will attack again. Catch me. There we go. Nature is beating you. So this lets us restart or go to the main menu. We'll click main menu. Now we're back here. Okay, and since I am the designer for this level as well, I'm also going to play through it. So now we move into the winter campsite. So with winter campsite, again, our game is more about the replayability factor. So we have the main objective is going to be similar, and in this current state of the game would be exactly the same. The main and side objectives: grow stronger by eating prey as a side objective, and then find the big bear and defeat it. So this time I will show a loose state first in this level. Just kind of do it opposite here. Wolf is going to try to eat me and get on the ground, make it easier. Oh, there's a coyote. They will definitely eat me. Wolf. You can see once you're on the ground, it's not a very good time for an owl. So that's very much on purpose. We want to make sure that the player is incentivized to stay up in the air as much as they can. So plenty of trees with branches to perch. But talking specifically about this level, and to showcase options, once again, increase that. Yep, that works. Okay, and we're going to reduce that a little bit, and we'll just do a little bit more. And then to show, hitting escape does indeed remove all the HUD elements here, as intended. So I hit resume. When the player starts in the winter campsite, they are automatically facing, so they start facing the very first POI. If the player decides to explore elsewhere, there are 3 paths here that are intended. One is directly towards the campsite, one leads you towards the road. You can see a car going by right there. And the other one is kind of hidden, and the player has to, turn themselves around to see where to go here. But there is a pathway that we will explore that goes to a forgotten graveyard. But we're going to follow a straight line since we're pointing this way. We go to our first campsite. This is New Forest Campsite Alpha. So here again we see the impact of humans on nature. We just have them I got stuck. Okay. So, as the nature of our game, the spawn handler does spawn enemies and prey randomly, so we can see that this is not populated like it was before. We have our campsite here, it's campsite Alpha. We have a road that leads out to the main road, which goes through the level. And then there's a sign. And we have campsite Bravo over here. To get some prey, just like the last level, we want to try to get stronger. So we want to see our stats increase before we go fight the bear. here. Okay. Into lock on. Don't have any lock on abilities at the moment. Good level up in. So leading from the second campsite, we have another pathway that we can take, which we'll showcase here. Before we follow it all the way to completion, though, we will explore the one area I mentioned in the beginning. So this is a great mountain trail. You follow this up. You're going to be led up to our cabin up here. You see there's a predator in there. And that happens to be our big bear. But don't feel strong enough yet, so I'm going to go back down, find a few more things to defeat. Health is pretty low. I want to try to take that aerial. And here's a lot of enemies that spawned in this cave here. Let's take the bobcat out. So our stamina, or rather our feather throw, our ranged attack, is tied to our stamina. So it does use a bit of stamina every time you interact with it. That out. More stamina, more stamina. This is again kind of the randomness of our design here at play. So we're getting a lot of stamina, not a lot of extra health, but we're getting some. I'd like to get some more attack damage, so I'm going to try to fight some predators to level up and get that stat increased. No. Go. Okay, a little low on health, but I'm feeling pretty okay with stats, so I'm going to attempt to fight the bear boss right after I show our last area here. So, I guess the last two areas. We have our road, which does spawn a car at random intervals. This will kill you, so I will showcase this after I beat the boss to show the win state. So yeah, they will spawn at random intervals. They keep the player a little bit on their toes. A lot of predators around here. So if we follow this path off of the main road here, we have a sign that's down. It says Colonial Age Cemetery. I'm going to just sit on a bridge for a moment, or a branch for a moment. So we follow the path, we find this forgotten graveyard POI. So we have a couple predators. The crow will try to attack you, and then some of them have kind of wandered off, but there are some static predators that spawn here. But what's most important is there is one prey that spawns here, so similar to the village ruins, that's unique to this area. Oh. Don't want to die this late in the game. Let's take the coyote out here. There we go. So this is the little brown myotis. It is a bat. If you defeat that, we are definitely going to die. So it looks like we're going to show the fail state again here. So I'm just going to show that with the car. The little brown myotis also gives a very specific buff. So we wanted to, or in this case it gives an ability which is unique to a prey. Usually they only give stat boosts, but this particular prey does give you an ability. Which it looks like it gave us a lock-on ability, which is pretty cool. And since I only have 2 health, and I know that there are no fireflies in this particular level, I'm going to showcase the second fail state of this level, which is being hit by a car. If the player decides to go in front of a car, they will be killed. It does not matter how much life they have, it's just an instant kill. Let's wait for one to spawn here. Nope. And I'm dead. Run over by a car. So let's restart. And for the final time, this time we're going to go and beat the bear. But we do have to get stronger first, as we've seen. Oh, you can't fight them. Gotta take out a coyote. Go. Get some stamina back. Go. Oh. Bobcat tried to lunge at me there. That's what that was. Some more wolves. Another level up. Okay, and got a good bit of predator. Oh, that one's in a tree. How fun. Okay, and kill those. Okay, almost out of stamina, so I want to hit a branch, and as we saw in the previous level, that points towards the boss. Coyote does not want to stay still so that I can kill them. More here. That one. We're gonna go get our static spawn over here. Little brown Myotis. We don't get. Yeah, we got attacked while we're on the ground. And coyotes are everywhere here. See if they turn around. Got it. Okay. A little low on health. We're level 6 now. Feeling okay about our stats, so we're gonna give it a shot and see if we can beat the bear boss. To activate this. They got us. So I'm going to have to fight the boss with more health. So that means I'm going to have to be more careful about the fights that I take. There's very little ways to get health back, so I need to be aware of that. Coyote has a good bit of health. Go. More stamina. Okay. Back to this. And I did want to showcase something that we put in during this sprint as a way to get the player out of danger. Hitting control whenever there is nothing above the player while on the ground gives you a liftoff, which launches you well above and gives the player a bird's eye view. It's great for getting out of danger, and it's great if the player is lost and not 100% sure where they need to go. Try to find some prey so I can get some stronger stat boosts and not have to worry about losing health. I kept having bad luck with finding prey. Plenty of predators. There's one prey. Just got jumped again. Lots and lots of predators. Here's some prey. Grasshopper will give us stamina and a level up. The mouse gives us some walk speed, so we'll be faster on the ground. There's something else here. Another mouse. Ah, here we go. We have a burrow that spawned a bunch of prey all in one area. Okay. Max health. Coyote. I'm gonna get away from them. Try to get a little bit more prey here. That's gonna give me stamina. The grasshopper. More grasshoppers. Lots of stamina. Okay, I have 56 health. I don't really want to risk dying again for the sake of the video. So I'm going to get that one, get one more level up, not get hit by a car, and we're gonna go and try to beat the boss again. Get some stamina. Oh, I'm full on stamina. Never mind. So I do have the metal ability. I'm gonna utilize that. Go in. And I died again. So, boss, pretty strong. There's a bunch of prey, so I can farm these for a little bit. Wow. Okay. Health. A little stronger. We have a good bit of health to work with. Let's kill some predators to get some level ups and some abilities. Good. Lots of wolves. Very good. We're level 5, almost where we were before, but this time we have a lot more health, so I feel a lot more confident that we'll be able to take some of the boss's hits, even with the metal ability. Get a couple more here. Take out coyotes, which are particularly fierce. One of our harder enemies at the moment. Okay, let's find that little brown Myotis. Go. Now let's finally go beat that boss. There we go. Finally beat it. And this should load into a random level, which we got Village Ruins, which I showed last time. And that is about it. So that is it for the winter campsite. Show that this quits. And thank you much for watching.
Hello, my name is Trey Davis of Team Neptune Shark, and today I'm going to be showing you guys what we have accomplished over this past sprint. So as we load up, we can see it says Brave Bird Studios. It says play, how to play, level select, options, credits, and quit. We're going to go to the options off the rip just to turn this down a little bit. Not all the way down, but just a little bit. Just because it does tend to get a little bit loud and overbearing during the game. So let's go ahead and hit Twin Falls. So as we can see, when we come over here, we have a little spot where it tells the player and kind of like introduces them to how to fly and that sort of stuff. So he says click to jump, and then click space again while in the air to hover. And then the player starts to hover. When you get over to here, it tells the player that when you click left on the shift button, while hovering, you'll go fast, just like this. And then once you get to here, it'll let you know, find and defeat the angry bear, and then hunt prey to get stronger before taking the bear, or taking on the bear. Beware of vast amounts of predators lurking. So this lets the player know there's going to be lots of predators lurking below. Make sure you hunt a lot of prey so you can get stronger before fighting the boss battle. And it also lets the player know that they're looking for a boss battle. One of the things that I like about the way I designed this level is that coming out of the previous level, the forest fire level, you're obviously leaving a forest fire. So starting off this level, I wanted the player to leave a forest fire and make their way out into a big, beautiful clearing where there's a lot more going on other than everything being on fire. So I'm going to go ahead and fly really high up real quick. I want to give you guys a good little bird's eye view, no pun intended, of the map. So as you can see, we have the dig site POI over there. We have a little lumber yard over here. The dig site is populated with a bunch of little like holes and a little shed. We have a bunch of forests. All the forested areas are populated with tons of predators and tons of prey. We have a little farmland over there. We have the haunted mansion POI over here. We have the boss battle cave over there. We have a nice little lake over here with a bridge, the little bridge POI. We have these two mountains with their waterfalls, which is hence why the level is called Twin Falls. So let's go ahead and dive into all these POIs one by one. So as we can see, leaving here, we have the attention grabber, the Haunted Mansion. So around the Haunted Mansion, it's surrounded by different kinds of predators, different kinds of prey. There are birds lurking in a lot of these trees, as well as very vicious predators lurking all around on the ground. As we cut back and come through here, we'll go ahead and fly this way. We can see that we have the farmland over here. We have a couple of greenhouses. Have the farmer's house right here, a nice big house, nice big brown oak house, with a couple of greenhouses outside the farmland. We can see that we have some crop fields out over here, as well as some planters and some wheat and some chopped down trees right below us. We can see we have the bridge POI as well as the Tree of Life POI right here. This Tree of Life POI will have lots of prey around for the player to attack. So as we go down, we can see lots of prey for the player to go ahead and level up by killing. Let me go ahead and see if I can hit one of them. They are fast, I will warn you. Alright, well, I might not be able to catch one right now. They're pretty fast. I need to grab some stamina from one of these trees before we move on to the next part. So we can see that we have that Tree of Life POI. We can see the Dig Site POI right there. And just we have to fly extra far. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lumber yard from above. This is the lumber yard. Now we're going to go ahead and head to the boss battle cave. So as the player makes the way through here, ideally by this point the player will have, was able to gather a lot of prey and kill some predators, get their abilities upgraded, get their health and all the stats boosted. Because at this current level, we can tell at the very bottom of the screen it says level 1. At this current level, the player is definitely not strong enough to take on the bear, as we're about to soon find out. So we're going to fly up here to the bear boss. And once we get over here, we're going to see we're going to make him very angry for getting inside of his cave. He does not like people inside of his cave. We were able to dodge a couple of those. Now it just comes down to beating him up. And as you can tell, the player stood no chance. So, that being said, that is the game, and that is what we have worked on over the course of the past sprint. More specifically, that is what I have worked on over the past sprint. I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you very much for your time, and have a wonderful day.
Hello, everybody. My name is D'Artagnan Stanley, and I am part of Team Neptune Shark. So let's get into it. Let's get this uploaded. Okay, the first one I wanted to talk about, let me drop this down in here. The first task was the completion of the snake, which I did complete. It just wasn't enough time to implicate it into the game. So I'm going to go into the toy box to show you a little bit of example of that. Move that out the way. Sorry if that's a little bit loud. So here we are in the toy box. And there's the snake. Right here. It goes around. It does give you damage. And it does make sound. You can, it's kind of fast. You can hit it, but it also hits you too. If you can see right there, sorry, it's just so fast. I should have slowed it down. So it tries to get away from you as you kind of hit it. I was trying to implicate that in there to get away from you, but it also, that's why it moves so fast. But as you can see, we didn't implicate it because of those reasons, the box. But I think it will work once we get an actual skin for it, so the boxes won't be messing with it. But that's how the snake works in the level, if we decide to implicate it. Okay, let me just go on ahead and go back. Okay. That was one of the tasks that I have worked on for the sprint. The hawk I worked on, the king snake, was supposed to be a part of the regular snake completion. I did make one, but I couldn't get it to go in and out the ground as I wanted it to, so it just did the same thing as the snake. The hawk, you actually fought it on the last video, which was kind of funny. I didn't even know one of my teammates put it into his level. It wasn't fully done. So let's go here. It was over here, but we decided not to put it in to the level. But I actually realized that my teammate left it into his game, into his level, I mean, which was kind of funny. I really wish I could have finished that up. This is exactly where you fought the Hawks. As you can see, they was moving around last time, but I decided to disconnect them so they wouldn't move around. That was one of the tasks that I was working on during the sprint. At the same time as the king snake, so I could get those done. The other ones were more of game. Let's bring it back down here. The other two were more gameplay testing and getting feedbacks. I did those before I did everything else, so I could knock those out the way. We kind of go back to our Jira, Confluence, and I kind of set it up so one person will not have to worry about game testing the game, which me and Eric did. Kind of set up the little game test, like questionnaires and everything. Set up a link so nobody will have to worry about the game testing. And here's the old one. Oh, somebody did submit something. So this is the kind of like what I worked on for us to test it around people, so we wouldn't have to do that. I did kind of questionnaires and everything for the game testing. When I set up certain pages, playtest questionnaire, I kind of did everything so we wouldn't have to worry about none of that, even though I know that's not relevant. So we did 2 months of game testing, trying to get everything balanced so it will work for our final turn-in. Well, that's about everything I did for this. I did 4 hours of that. So yeah. And to complete the snake, the damage, give damage. That's what it does. And goes on patrol. It pauses. It does everything. Wow, it only took me 3 hours. I didn't know that. Yeah. And these two, I kind of wish I could have had more time to complete it. These two I would have loved. I got it to patrol, as you can see last time, but it wasn't really patrolling. It was like looking down if you look at the last video. And it was flying in the sky. I just couldn't get it to attack the player. The king snake, I did create a venom ball and everything, and the thing, I thought it was only going to take 2 minutes to make, but I didn't really have enough time. Hopefully next time I'll be able to implicate all the stuff that I can. And thank you for watching.
Again, this is Eric Cameron with Project Neptune Shark, and I will be going over my Jira tasks for the BAL final sprint. So starting off, let's start the game. While this loads, bring our tasks back up. So first thing fixed was a bug fix where the overlap would cause, or with the caves and burrows, would cause the player to stop flying and hit the ground. This also happened with a no spawn box, which is a collision box we put in areas where we do not want the caves and burrows to spawn. So to showcase this, first let's reduce that. Let's go to the winter campsite. So the behavior before, whenever the player would fly into the cave, they would get knocked out of the sky because the collision box did not care about the player being detected. Cannot show this in a build because this is something we discovered during source time. So it's a change that we implemented that we cannot show in a build state. But flying around this, now the player is not knocked down. They just this invisible box around here is simply to put space between it and other caves so that they do not spawn on top of each other. But you can see that there is no knockdown of the player, no issue with overlap at all. Okay, so that bug is fixed. Next task I have is show a HUD element, shows when the player levels up. So specifically here, I want to showcase the bottom down here where the level is. Once the level reaches a new number, so going from 1 to 2 as an example, won't get it with this one, should be able to get it with the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go, and we see the level up on the bottom there. So that is some player-facing information. Something we really focused on this sprint is making sure the player is aware of different things happening in the game. Try to showcase the level up one more time here. There we go. Again, level up triggers. So that shows not only the bottom there, but we also have something at the top, which is related to another task that I have here. So, HUD element that shows when the player levels up, that is complete. Moving to the next one, the options menu does not save the volume settings appropriately. This is something that I personally worked on that I struggle with over and over and over again. But now we go into the options, we see that we saved it in the main menu, and that did save placement of them. Let's move them there. Let's just change that so we can show. Out of the options, back in, everything saved. Out of the options, back in, everything saved. So that bug is fixed. And as a little side note, it's not part of that, but there was a point in the source code where if you hit escape, it would leave this on the screen and the player would not be able to get rid of it. That is fixed now. So another thing that was brought up. Next, we have add a stat tracker the player can summon in game. So this one's pretty simple. On the bottom left of the screen, we show owl stats that's pulsing. This will continue to pulse until the player activates that key. So hitting the Alt key, as shown here, will bring up the current stats. This shows all the information you can see on the for the player, and includes all the different power-ups that we give the player as they interact with the systems in the game. And these will update as the player gets stronger. To showcase this, let's go ahead and fight this guy there. And there we go. We see the stats have increased. So that is good. Next, we have add a HUD element that displays when the player gains power-ups. So we've seen this several times already, but I'll showcase it again. This is the text that's going to show above the player's head. So it is contextual, dependent on what stats the player is gaining. Go ahead and die first. Let's restart. So depending on what the player defeats, so this is a good example here. If we go for a prey, it's only going to show one thing. Here we go, max health, 125. Fly speed, 850. Great. So that shows individual things being gained. If we attack this coyote here, we should see all of the things triggered. There we go. And that shows all the stats being gained, because as the predator is defeated, the player will get experience, usually a lot, but they'll gain a small boost to each thing, or each stat. And then if they level up, they'll gain even more. So next we have test all HUD and UI for consistency and bug finding. So most of that, we'll go to winter campsite again. Actually, we'll mix it up. We'll go back to village runs. So most of this is a result of us needing more player-facing information. So adding this to show, what your stat progression is. Adding another key on the bottom there. We can see it says lift off, so this is a way for the player to escape danger as well as get a bird's eye view of the area. And then once the player interacts with it at the apex, it will stop pulsing, because now we've indicated that the player has figured that out. Stamina wheel does drain as intended. The health bar does decrease as intended as well. We saw that in the previous example, but we will try to find some predators here to show that. Additionally, we have the HUD elements to show the stat gain. All of that is pretty consistent there. And anytime the player gains stamina as well, a little plus amount will show up near the player's stamina. See all of that working. There we go. We see the damage is being taken, and as well as the bar having an animation, player screen turning red. So we have that. The experience bar tracks as appropriate, so does the level, and that matches here. Lots of prey here, so we'll just show that happening again. Next, stamina, walk speed, and then all of these trigger separately, and that's kind of why you see this, this billow effect. So if the player were to catch prey rapidly in succession, it doesn't muddy up too much, and it creates like an interesting look, I think, with how things are displayed. And it feels random sometimes whenever you get things, but it's all just how it's triggered. And then top left for HUD, we have the level name that shows, and that is per level. I've shown this in the previous videos that I've done. Top right shows the objectives as expected. Bottom right, this is something related to our abilities. I didn't specifically work on this, but just to showcase it, pressing T does show you have abilities. And it shows you the helpful tooltip there. Okay. Now, that's pretty much good there. We'll go back to the main menu. Add a HUD element that shows current level. So showcase that a couple times, but I'll show it again. That is on the very bottom of the screen, right above the experience bar. Show level 1. Just the stamina bar to be more clear. So in previous versions, we had an icon around or at the center of the stamina bar that was for a feature that we just deprecated and didn't use anymore. So took that out, which is the claw, as well as the animations attached to that. Resized the stamina bar and then moved it to be closer to the health area. So now it's a little bit easier to see, especially when it's draining. If we can get it to go into the red state here. Just waste some stamina here. There we go. There we go. You can see it's flashing when you go below 35% to indicate to the player they need to find somewhere to get stamina back. So if we go to a branch, there we go. Okay, so that's that task taken care of. Moving down the list a little more. Certain AI despawn after a certain period of time. So again, this is something that we fixed mid-builds, so we don't... and it's very time-consuming of the previous builds. It's just a feature that we deprecated, but originally the random spawner would spawn these AI, and after a set amount of time, they would despawn to allow for more AI to spawn from the caves or the burrows. We deprecated this. It ended up causing more problems than it was worth, and created some weird interactions in the game where you might be fighting something and they'll just disappear randomly. So now all the predator and prey are static until they are defeated, and then they'll spawn new ones. And then adjust the lock on for better visibility is the final task here. So I've shown this a couple times, but originally this was a white throbber that went around. It's kind of small, a little difficult to see, especially in an area that's white. It's easier here because it's green, but now it is red. It is much bigger than it was before, and easier to see in white levels. So to showcase that, we'll go to the winter campsite. Let's find a predator. Get towards the cave. Yep, there we go. Okay. So now it's a lot more clear. I think there's still work that could be done to make that even more clear. Maybe make it kind of pulse a little bit to get bigger and smaller as the player's locked on. But it's way easier to tell that you're locked on now with that color difference, and red to indicate that you're in combat. So that is that showcased, and that is it for my tasks. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Noah Anderson, and today we'll be looking at our final build review for Project Neptune Shark. So in this video I'll be showing all my Jira tasks that I worked on and how I completed them. I was working mostly on the mechanics of the game, so my tasks will be best demonstrated inside of our toy box here. If we take a look at our mechanics, the mechanics that I was working on, here's my task list. The first thing I worked on was a bug, and this is a bug that the player still used the melee attack when they were in ranged mode while on the ground. This has since been fixed. I'll show a video here of what it was. So this is the current bug in the game. If the player goes into flight mode and they switch their combat mode with Q from melee to range, they start throwing the feathers, but if they land on the ground, it does the melee attack again, but at the same rate as the feathers. And how we fixed it. Now when the player switches to ranged mode on the ground, the range attack fires correctly but deals less damage while the player is on the ground. Alright, let's take a look at our next task here. Our next task here was to complete a full play test for the game. I was able to do that and give some feedback and different suggestions to help improve the game. Next, I worked on the boss fight. We're going to take a look at that, as this has changed quite a bit. The boss used to just throw beehives at you, but it's been since updated to do a couple different things, which I'll demonstrate here. I'm going to first turn the audio down just a bit. Alright, so if we go to the bear, he'll begin throwing the beehives at us. But every 15 to 30 seconds, he has the ability to do something else. One option is for him to spawn a lightning strike, and the other is for him to spawn an owl to fight with him. Okay, there we go. We got the first one, which is the spawn of a lightning strike. If that lightning hits me, it will damage me. The other option is for him to spawn an owl to come fight me. Well, he spawned another lightning strike, which damages me if it hits me. Let's see if we can get the other result here. There we go. He spawns an owl to come fight me. Ah! He got me. Alright. Let's take a peek at the other tasks here. Okay, next task. Add UI text to explain the mechanics to the player. Okay. Alright, this is going to be adding text for each ability, adding animation for the text, and adding a toggle function for the tips. Okay. So, as you can see, the toggle in the bottom right corner, it says press T to show ability tips. So, if I press T, it tells me press 1, 2, or 3 to select an ability. Okay, so if I press 1, I hover over the scream. Right click to scream and freeze all enemies for 5 seconds. If I press 2, right click to become metal and take significantly less damage. And 3, right click to dive at enemies must be high enough. Okay, the other 3 abilities, we have to be locked on to an enemy first. So let's fly over to an enemy and see those. Here we can see, right click to launch a spread of feathers at your enemies, right click to drop an egg and press 2 to detonate, and right click to go into berserker mode to deal extra damage and throw feathers as fast as you can. And let's use all of one ability here. If we use them all, we'll see that that ability is now blacked out, and the cursor gets blacked out as well. And it tells us that we have no ability there. And in the text it says that you do not have this ability. Try hunting prey and predators to gain this ability. Alright. Alright, my next task here is that perching regenerates stamina. This will allow the player to perch on a branch to regenerate their stamina, and the branch will then be destroyed. We've got to award the player a drip of stamina by standing on the branches and destroy the branch after a short while. Okay, so as you can see, my stamina wheel goes down as I fly. But I can come over to one of these branches, and if I perch on it, I refill the stamina, but if I stay on it too long, the branch will break. Perfect. Next up is range attacks cost stamina. Okay. This will force the player to spend stamina in order to range attack. This will make the range attack less enticing and it will cost stamina on use of range attack. Okay, so if we switch to range, you'll notice my stamina wheel as I fire our feathers goes down rapidly. Alright, there we go. Next up, make the player turn towards the locked on enemy. This will cause the player to face the enemy that they are locked onto to help with combat. Make the player face the locked on enemy at all times and release player rotation when the player stops locking on. Alright, so if I go to an enemy and lock on, you'll notice that I am rotated towards that enemy at all times, no matter how much I move around. And then if I unlock that, my rotation is now free and not connected to that enemy anymore. As long as I'm locked on, it stays facing that enemy at all times. Alright, the last two here are balancing tasks. This first one is balancing the predator health and damage, and after that it is balancing the bear health and damage. Okay. So we go into the balancing predator health and damage. This will be balancing for the balancing of the health and damage of the predators of the game. Conduct template tests, edit health, edit damage dealt, and find a good difficulty balance. So we have our spreadsheet that we asked our testers to fill out. There's quite a bit of data here, and here is the Google Sheet version of it. So I went down each of these. I asked if each predator should have more or less health and deal more or less damage, and quite happy with how our play testers are
pretty happy with where things are. There's a few minor changes that they wanted to make. I'll read off those names of our testers here at the end. Those testers are Steven, Josiah, Amber, Blake, Jordan, Trip, Tristan, Julian, and Kim. And the changes that were made because of that is the Coyote has a little bit less health and deals a little bit less damage, and the Wolf has a little bit less health and deals a little bit more damage. Alright, so here's the Wolf. And the Wolf can die in 2 shots now. Make it a quick and easy enemy. And we'll see if we can find a Coyote. Oh, here's one right here. The Coyotes deal just a little bit less damage on attack now. And they have just a little bit less health. There we go. Now when it comes to the bear, there's quite a split decision here between less, more, and just right. So I wound up tempering the bear health through the levels so it grew just a little bit as the levels increase. So if we find a bear here, we can go attack it and see the new fight. Oh, the bear has defeated me. Alright, now that we've leveled up a little bit, let's try again. There we go, we've defeated the bear. And that is the end of my task list. Thank you for watching.
Okay, next I will be going over the Jira tasks that I've completed. First of which being to increase the brightness for the forest fire level, which is this one. As you can see, it's a lot brighter. I turned the shadows up with the post-process system, adjusting their gamma. So now the player is able to see just about everything. And the next part of the level is a different post-process system, so I will go ahead and show you that one as well. As we come out of here, you're able to see all around. Brightness is greatly upgraded, and the player is able to see every single corner. Okay, the next task we are going to be going over is this one, the stamina balancing task. I had to edit the initial stamina, edit the stamina gain, the stamina loss, and the stamina regen, as well as conduct 10 playtests. We're going to be able to see the moment we go into the tutorial level. So I edited the initial stamina just a bit because players would sometimes lose all of their stamina before making it to the next point where they regain all their stamina. So I gave them a small bonus to the initial stamina. Player makes it over here, they're able to gain their stamina back. And now we will talk about the stamina loss. The stamina loss for the hover has actually been lessened. Players were finding it annoying to lose stamina when in combat, so I decided to slightly lower the stamina loss when hovering. When going fast, however, I increased the stamina loss just a bit to try to combat the other the stamina loss for the hover. Get out of that guy. Next, we will talk about stamina gain. Just about everything gives you stamina, but only 2 things increase your maximum stamina. One of those things being a cricket. Let's try to find one. Are you a cricket? No. Perhaps you. No. Okay, we were not graced with the cricket right now. Let us continue on. Probably find one up here. Make our way in here. This is the main spawn locations. So this is where we're going to check first. This would be a good time though to talk about the stamina regain. So if you were just on the ground, then you will gain stamina up to a point. It's around 50%. We did not want the players to just be sitting on the ground, which is why we decided to clamp it. And it also goes up pretty slow, as you can see. You also do gain stamina from sitting on branches to a certain point. There you go. Next, we're going to continue to try to find that cricket slash grasshopper. Oh, are you one? Nope. Oh no. Let's get out of here. Let's give a look over here. Another way you can get your max stamina is by leveling up. It does increase it by 10, whereas the prey, the grasshopper slash cricket, gives it to you by 20. So we can go ahead and level up. Let's find a creature. Find one. Yeah, it's alone. Oh, what? Oh, let's take that guy out. Okay, there we go. We leveled up, so our max stamina is now increased. And then, oh, we found. Oh no! Alright, that is a cricket. This wolf is guarding it, however. Let us try and use our ranged attacks to take him out. Okay. Now it's just me and you, Mr. Cricket. So if you attack the cricket, come here. There we go. Then you gain your max stamina, and that is how the max stamina gain is orchestrated, and how the stamina in general is in our game. Okay, the next task we're going to be talking about is actually a bug, and it is the fixed post-process effect on the slipstream. Before, if you were to go out of the slipstream rapidly, sometimes you would have the post-process effect constantly on you. And as you can see, you get the post-process effect. After a bit of a delay, it disappears. And if you go back over here and you keep messing with it, you'll have the same effect. There you go. So yep, the slipstream post-process effect currently works. Next, we will be talking about the hitting a wall doesn't disable particle effects bug. Before, if you're flying and the particle effects you see behind you, if you're flying and hit a wall, it would not disappear. Now, if you go and you hit a wall, they both disappear, and you are left without them. Next, we will be talking about the bug with speed being cut in half when you were dashing. Before, if you were dashing while locked onto an enemy, it would actually cut your speed in half. We will also be talking about the add sounds to Bobcat task that I have. So right over here, we have our Bobcat. Oh, that's the bear who currently sees us. Yeah, let's go over here and get our Bobcat. See, as you can hear, he has two sounds that he will switch off. And if we go and lock on and then dash, As you can see, it is always the same. Your speed never gets cut in half. And you can see our speed, max fly speed right there. And 1600, 800 when you're hovering. So if we were to go down here, we gain some stamina, just a little bit, and then lock on, 800, you dash, and it's still 800. Thank you guys for watching all of my tasks, and I hope you enjoyed.
Hello, my name is Robert Johnson, and I am going to go over my JIRA tasks that I did for the sprint this week, or this sprint, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, some of my changes did not make it in due to basically one ability that just was not working, which takes away from the rest of what I was doing. But here we go. The full play tests. I did both of them. 1 and 2. So those are pretty straightforward. It was just a play test. We set up the Q&A and responses and stuff like that on Confluence. So all that data will be over there, which I'll show off in a little bit. The player health for balancing, I had to go in, and I personally did not work on the player health, so I just got a bunch of feedback ready for my team member who did work on it. So I went ahead and did that, and I gave him feedback, and it's now working and functioning the way it should in the actual build. Gathering testers outside of the team, that was a little bit of a process, mostly because it was hard to find a bunch of people, because since my move, there's not a whole lot of people around me that I know now, and I am my grandfather's caretaker, so he's not going to know what to do anyway. But I did get my 2 cousins and some online people, so all that is also squared away in the Q&A. So the day and night cycle. I originally had a day and night cycle set up in the ENV light mixer. This was something else that unfortunately didn't make it in due to another issue that I will go over here in a second. But the day-night cycle does function when it's turned on. Right now it's off in the build, so you may not see it. But it does work when it's turned on. It is now in a blueprint, so now it's just a drag and drop instead of having to go through each level and set up the ENV light mixer. That was fun, but for simplicity and sake of ease, it wasn't very decent to do. So that's done. This is the issue and why I have it set to QA fail. The night vision is technically in the game. It's on a toggle. Right now I believe it's disconnected. Reason being is when I tried to set it up with the day-night cycle, and this is why the day-night cycle is not currently working. This is because it just was not responding correctly with the day-night cycle no matter what I did, and it's probably something small that I did, or that I need to do. But it just was not working, and it became an issue, so unfortunately it had to be cut. For now, I do intend to go in and probably try to get it set up between now and the next sprint or next assignment, whatever that may be. I know that may not count towards anything, which is completely fine. But I do want to get it in there because that was a huge kind of like feel that we wanted for our game, and without it, it's kind of like, I mean, it's okay without it, but it doesn't really go along our vision without it. But I'll try to get that in. Now, when it came to any bugs or errors with the day-night cycle, it did not have any errors. However, there were a couple bugs that I had to fix. In the level when it was currently working, right now it's not, as I said, the sun would go under the map and light would come through and it would look like there was a bunch of point lights everywhere. I had to go in there, and after messing with the light settings, I just could not fix it, so I put a box underneath the level set to double-sided, and that blocked the light because that box was basically taking the light instead and it blocking it from going through the map so you couldn't see it. The player can't see it, you can't access it, so it should not break the immersion. And we also have boundaries on there so they can't just go out of the map and then find the box. I made it big enough to cover, but small enough where they can't go in the air and then find it, since we do technically have a flying game with the owl. But that is set up and it works, and it blocks the light, which is good because that really, although I will say it looked pretty cool on some of the trees, it definitely just, there was way too many of them because there were so many trees, so it didn't help. So that is now fixed. Unfortunately, I can't show it off because it's not in the prod main build right now due to our time restraint and my night vision and the night and day cycle not working, and the night cycle just would not look good at all in complete dark since the night vision was not working. Or, well, it wasn't working alongside the day night cycle. Again, I plan to try to fix this between now and, I guess in this case, the next class. Firefly overlap box. This was a small issue, but it was an issue. I had to basically the Firefly was a particle system, and it had a collision box overlap on it. So when the player hit it, they got 5 health back. Well, there was not really a bug or an issue, but it was more like an unintended way to do it. If the player went through it normally, like just walked into it, that was fine. They got the 5 health back, whatever. If they jumped and went on top of it, yes, they would go through it, but it would act like the player went through it 5 different times and they instantly got all their health because it gave them like 5 health back for each time it thought that they hit it, which was not the case. So I had to scale the collision box down, or the overlap box. So that is now fixed and it functions correctly. That is in the game. They're not as widespread. I think there's only a few of them because we were testing it, so unfortunately we kind of forgot about that because it was such a small thing to do, so I'd have to really look for it. The night vision, again, this is another QA fail. The vision, since it does not work with the night cycle, it's at nighttime you just could not see anything, and when you looked up, it got extremely bright. I think I know what the problem is. I have to go in there and mess with the gamma and saturation and all that, I think. But I didn't have time to sit here and tinker with it due to our time restraints. So unfortunately that is also something that did not make it in. I did work on it, but it just didn't get it into the final build. And then the day-night cycle are technically in the main levels, but right now they're turned off because of the night issue, and then not having night vision, just it would take too much away from having it set. Worst case scenario, we technically could run without it if need be, but that was like one of our bigger things that we wanted to do. So I'm hoping to get that done and squared away this week before the next class, even though I know it won't count towards anything as far as like time and maybe even an assignment. I want to get it up and running so that way it's there and we have it. But those are my Jira tasks, and here is the, if it loads for me, the Confluence was supposed to have the Q&A, which is in there, and it's under I believe it's actually under Q&A, so that's there and ready if you want to take a look. Unfortunately, I am on my laptop and I just can't get into there for some reason. I've been having issues with it today, but it is in there. And these are the Jira tasks that I did, so I wish I could showcase them all. Unfortunately, they're just not in there right now. I'm hoping they'll be in there for the next build that we do. Again, I want to work on them throughout this week, even though it won't count towards anything. But that is what I've worked on, and this is what I've accomplished. Thank you for watching.
Hello, my name is Trey Davis of Team Neptune Shark, and today we're going to be going over my Jira tasks as well as what it kind of looks like in game. So let's go ahead and actually first start looking at the game. We're going to open it up. You see we got Brave Bird Studios. And then when we go to, we can see we have play, how to play, level select, options, credits, and quit. If we go to level select, actually before we go to level select, let me go ahead and adjust this volume. So it is very, very loud. So we're going to go to level select. We're going to go to Twin Falls. And this is the level that I've been working on over the course of the sprint. So let's go ahead and tab back and look at our Jira tasks. So when it comes to our Jira tasks, we can see that we have a task saying adjust the farm to not be clipping, adjust the dig site so it's not clipping. So both of these, let's go take a look at those. So we can see when we come out of here, we're going to go ahead and look at the dig site first, because it's going to be right up on our right. We have finished building out the dig site, as well as making sure that's not clipping into the ground or going underground or anything like that. Not having like a little hut at the dig site, getting itself buried underground, that kind of thing. Funny enough, obviously it's a dig site, so obviously the dirt mounds and some of the shovels are supposed to be underground and such, but just trying to make sure there's not too many problems. As we fly past that little bird, we'll also obviously hear its little noise that's going to caw at us, letting us know to stay away. So this is the dig site. We're going to see a bunch of little different spots where there's a bunch of holes and shovels and stuff. We can see this little area inside of here. No clipping issues inside of here. Everything's looking good. Let's go ahead and make our way to the farmland. The farmland's going to be almost just perfectly across from us. So as we can see as we go over to the farmland, you can see it in the distance. Here we go. We can see that the houses are all nice. They're not clipping into the ground or anything. Same with the greenhouses over here on the right side. We can see that these beams are all nice and set up. The little planters are not clipping. You can see we have the grass all set up in the wheat fields, as well as these houses. So we made sure that also one of the bigger problems was at the time, a lot of these were like floating or were way too deep in the ground. So we made sure to fix all these little stone tiles to make sure that none of those were clipping in the ground. So that is that task right there. Let me go ahead and grab some stamina before we move on to the next task. Alright, get my stamina up. And then I'm going to go ahead and perch myself on top of here. So my mouse and keyboard gaming is not the very best. So we're going to go ahead and press E right here to nest, get our stamina back, and let's look at the next Jira task. By the way, when perching on that tree, we gained a little bit of our stamina back, and when hitting that nest, it gave us the rest of our stamina back. So let's go ahead and look at the rest of our Jira tasks. So we can see it says add Haunted Mansion POI, add Tree of Life POI, add Lumberyard POI. Let's take a look at these, as well as the add Bridge POI and the Boss Cave POI. Let's take a look at all of those. So let's fly up here a little bit. We can see that we have the Bridge POI right here. We have the Tree of Life POI right here. Off in the distance, we can see the Lumberyard POI, as well as the Dig Site POI. At the very tippy top up there, we can see the Boss Cave POI. I'll fly us a little bit closer just so you guys can get a better look. And don't worry, the player does get faster, but it takes farming some predators and farming some prey. So after some character development, they'll be a lot faster. So traversing the map will get quicker over time. We don't want the player starting off just zooming around the map. I also wanted, when I was designing this map, I wanted something that would be open and big for the player to explore and roam and be able to hunt down a lot of predators, be able to hunt down a lot of the prey. I wanted something where the player could feel open to just hunt, and as well as to go search for the boss battle afterwards, where they have plenty of places to go farm, as well as plenty of POIs to go visit. As we can see when we get up here, we have the Bear Boss POI. So we can go back to our Jira. And we can see that we got the Tree of Life, the Haunted Mansion, the Boss Cave, and the Bridge. I actually did not show the Haunted Mansion, so let's go ahead and show that. We can kind of see it from a distance over here. While we fly back that way, we'll look at some other Jira tasks that we can address while we're on the way there. So on the way there, we'll also look at we populated the level with predators as well as prey. We added the boss battle bear to the level as we just saw right there. Add nav meshes for the AI. We can take a look at that on the way there. We'll start with those. So we're going to look at the nav meshes, the predators and prey, as well as the haunted mansion, which all can be demonstrated in the same area. So we just got a little bit of a fly to go back this way. We're going to have to regain some stamina here in a second. Running pretty low on stamina, as we can see indicated by the flashing little stamina bar on the bottom left corner. So I'm going to go ahead and find myself a nice little tree perch. Uh-oh, there's two little predator birds around me, so let's hope that they don't try to attack me. Oh, and they're trying to attack me. Okay. Well, you can always hope. So as we can see, there's definitely nav meshes and predators and prey around. I was going to show that at the Haunted Mansion POI so that way you guys can see all of them, but as we can definitely tell, it's still there. We can see these are some of the prey. And these are populated around the entire level, whether they're predators or prey. They're all over the level. And as we arrive, we can now see that we are at the Haunted Mansion POI. And here are some more predators. So we can see not only do we have aerial predators, but as we swoop down, let's go ahead and take a look and we can see if we can find one of these guys. There we go. There's also some land predators as well, between coyotes and wolves, as well as as well as cougars. So, a lot of predators to worry about, as well as a lot of prey to farm. We can see we have the Haunted Mansion POI right here. Let's go ahead and take a perch. And then from the perch, we'll go ahead and move on to the next couple of Jira tasks. Alright, let's get to the top of the tree. Now we are safe from the predators. Let's go ahead and look at some of the Jira tasks. So, we've covered about all this stuff inside the finished level. The last few things we need to look at is we did the rebuild the farm, the fields in the farmland. We got to look at the farmland and see how those looked all nice with the different kinds of wheat fields and the elevated crop holders. We also have add pop-ups and tips for the player. We can go ahead and show this. We can also show the fixed collision around the level. The adjust level lighting. We can kind of tell as we maneuvered around the level that the lighting was looking good in all areas. There was no dark spots that were too dark, and there was no light spots that were too light. And then we'll look at this one as well. We'll look at balanced object placement. So when we dive back into this, we'll be looking at the object placement, the collision around the level, as well as the pop-up tips for the player. So let's go ahead and start with the object placement, and then we'll go to the pop-up tips. So if we go ahead and fly around, there's going to be different objects around the level that can be picked up, such as branches and rocks. These objects you can usually see from above or even see from close to the ground. See right there, we can see a little glowing. If you see where my indicator is, we can see those little glowing spots. Those little glowing spots are pickup objects. So one of these is either going to be a branch or it's going to be a rock. These ones down here are going to be rocks specifically. So as we see, we can come down here. When we have little pickup objects, we can pick this up. And we can see we have it inside of our hands. And later on, we're going to be looking at one of the tasks that says balance the weight of the pickup objects. So we can see that we did that because beforehand, we used to be able to just throw the rock across the map. And now, because we added mass to it, it doesn't go across the map. It goes a lot less farther. So, sorry for a little bit of a lag hitch in the game real quick. Let's try to throw this one again. And as we can see, throwing the rock doesn't go anywhere near as far because of the mass. Let's go ahead and head up right here and get some more stamina before looking over at the tooltips and the kill box out of bounds. Okay, now it is time for the tooltips and the kill box. So let's go ahead and start with the tooltips, actually, just because the kill box will probably end the level. Well, not probably, it will. So we're going to go ahead and go all the way over here. This is where the level started. We will see a couple of tooltips as soon as we get back over here. You can actually start to see the start of some of them right there. This is the tooltip that tells you about the bear and the objective of the level. We're getting a lot closer to it. We can kind of see the little orange and red words sticking out. Alright, so we can see here we have some tooltips right here for the player, as well as down here and in our HUD as well, between the things such as press Q to toggle, things such as that. Now let me go ahead and perch right here, and before we go out to the kill box, let's go ahead and take a look to see if there's anything else we could address before we end the level. So over the sprint, I also went through QA testing the L flying level. That was the name of this level previously. The level is now named the L Twin Falls level. We went through and I QA tested the winter campsite level. And then we went through and QA tested the forest fire level. And so we did a bunch of QA testing. And then we also did the pickup objects. So along with that, we went with adjust and balance the mass of all objects that can be picked up. We did that. And we also just took a look at that a second ago. And then we also have resize the pickup rock. We saw that the pickup rock wasn't too big. Previously it was a big old boulder. And then adjust the mass of all prey. We can take a look at that real quick. And then we'll show the kill box. So the reason for us adjusting the mass of the prey is I had figured that it was unrealistic for when the player would attack the prey or kill the prey, that the prey's body would launch very far and would roll around and do things of that nature. So we decided to make the prey have realistic mass, so that way when they would get killed, they will not be bouncing around everywhere. So let's go ahead and go on the hunt for some prey right now. We should be coming up on some over here. Alright, so let's go ahead and land on this guy. Now as you can see, boop, when we kill him, his body doesn't roll around a bunch. He just dies in place. Now there was one more thing on Jura that we were going to cover real quick. Set the predators should despawn to false. This was a big one because there was originally a bug where all the predators would despawn in the level after just 3 minutes. So we had to figure out some way around that, and we set something up. So all we have to do is set a boolean to false, saying that they should not despawn in the level, and now we have all the predators staying around. And to show that, we'll go ahead and demonstrate. I mean, it's been more than 3 minutes of this recording, but just for demonstrating purposes, we're going to go ahead and take a look and find ourselves a predator on the hunt real quick. So the other thing is too with the levels is predators and prey will come out at different times of day. Here we are, and here is the predator right there. So you can see that they are no longer despawning. Now for this next piece, I'm going to have to get as much stamina as I can. Alright. Now I'm just going to go ahead and fly straight up. So the final thing we're showing is that we have a kill box set as around there's a ceiling as well as around a barrier around the level. So around the entire level, around the mountain sides, there is a barrier. If the player tries to fly over the mountains, they will die. And if the player flies too high, they will also die. So let's go ahead and fly up, 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 and we'll see that in a second. Just keep flying. Sorry, like I said, the bird is a little bit slow, or the owl is a little bit slow in the very beginning. He starts getting a little bit faster over time as the player progresses and eats more prey and does things of that nature. I might be running out of stamina. I might have to just go down. So we wanted the player to be able to get the bird's eye view by being able to let them go super high up, but not super far out. So let's try to go outwards instead, because I might not have enough stamina to make it all the way out of bounds. So we'll try to go out of bounds this way, because there might just not be enough stamina to... I didn't fill up all the way on my stamina. So I might not be able to reach the peak of the kill box. But the kill box is a tiny bit above where I was up there. I don't want to try to keep flying up there and then run out of stamina and have to try all over again. So we're going to go ahead and have to go like this. Let's perch on here. Get my stamina back. Branch breaks. Uh-oh, I'm going to get attacked. Okay, I got to go. We'll try to go ahead and show the boundary limits over here, since this is the closest thing to us right now. Let's go ahead and go out, out, out. We should have enough stamina. We'll have more than enough stamina to make it out of here. By far, most definitely. Be able to make it out of the bounds area. So, as we can see, we glide up and up and up. And over here, the out of bounds area is a little bit lower for the ceiling as well. It's low for the ceiling as well as for the actual out of bounds area. So as we can see, player flies around. And then once flying too far, it will say you got lost in the woods. So obviously again, player moves really slowly, so I do apologize for how long some of that stuff took to demonstrate. But I do appreciate you guys sitting through that. That is my JIRA tasks that I've completed over the course of this month, or over the course of this sprint more of. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.